Hello, this is Dr. Alberto Villoldo. I want to welcome you to a replay of our webinar, Avoiding the Three Great Killers of the West. I apologize that due to technical difficulties, our last broadcast was cut short, but here's a condensed, brief 15-minute replay of how you can avoid these three great killers of the West. And I'm going to take you through a slideshow that's going to show you the causes and the solutions that you can implement at home to avoid the heart disease, the cancer, the dementias that are plaguing Western civilization today. Please join me and feel free to visit our website, the4winds.com, and look at our reference research section where we have tremendous amount of science backing up the presentations you're about to see. I first discovered that there was no incidence of any heart disease, dementia, Alzheimer's, cancer among indigenous peoples that lived a lifestyle very different from the Western stress-laden lifestyle of ours. People who had a diet that was all organic, free-range, grass-fed. And I'm going to show you their secrets that can help you to craft a long and healthy life. Stay with me, please. A lot of the information that I'm going to be presenting this evening can be found in greater detail in my new book, One Spirit Medicine, available through Amazon. But I'm going to go a little bit deeper now into the science. But first, we want to look at some of the terrifying statistics that we're working with. Do you know that if you live to be 85 years of age, that you have a 50% risk of having diagnosable Alzheimer's, that the rates of autism in 1985 were 1 out of 20,000 children, and today they're 1 out of 40. And these are the diseases of civilization that are killing Western civilization. And these are diseases that are not found in indigenous societies. When I was a medical anthropologist in the Amazon, I did not find any evidence of these ailments of the West. But let me show you where these come from. Look on the left, the diet of our primitive hunter-gatherer ancestors, 99% grass-fed, free-range, organic. And look at the diet of modern man on the right, which is primarily grains, primarily sugars, 80% refined grains and sugars. And our genome is a hunter-gatherer genome. We do not have an agricultural genome. In fact, grains were only introduced 6,000 to 10,000 years ago, and we're not prepared. Our DNA is not able to metabolize and to digest these refined grains that turn into sugars as soon as we put them into our body. In fact, from the perspective of evolution, the role of insulin is really to turn sugar into fat, to give us the fat that will take us through that long winter that today never arrives. And modern medical research shows that there's no evidence of these conditions in primitive hunting-gatherer peoples like the ones that I had the privilege of studying during 25 years of research in the Amazon. They had no heart disease, they had no dementia, they had no Alzheimer's, they had no cancers. And the research today indicates that the adoption of a diet and lifestyle that mimics our early lifestyle when we were hunter-gatherers can prevent these illnesses of the West. So the first thing we need to do, of course, is to detox, because we are exposed to chemicals today that we were never exposed to before. I remember as a kid playing with the mercury from the thermometer. We all were raised in families that had lead pipes and lead plumbing. And look at the poisons that we have in the everyday products that we use, from eyeliner to cosmetics to skin lotions. Extraordinary chemicals that we were never exposed to before. Now, research is indicating that if you are able to detox the body and restrict your carbohydrate intake from processed carbs, refined grains, eliminate the white menace, the white sugar, the white bread, the white flour, that you can prevent or delay the onset of cancer by reducing the amount of dietary carbs You can delay or suppress the emergence of cancer, or the proliferation of already existing tumor cells could be slowed down. Now, this is serious research. So contrary to normal cells, malignant cells depend on sugars to grow, and they're not able to metabolize the fats, the ketone bodies that today are so available to us in the coconut oils and the olive oils and the avocados. So one way to increase your production of the natural, the good fats, is to do an 18-hour fast every day. Have your last meal at 6 and your first carbohydrates at noon the following day. A diet of proteins and healthy fats, which is what's going to switch on the recycling systems in the body. And then we have to upgrade the brain through one spirit medicine. Once we're able to detox the body, we can upgrade the brain, repair the brain and the regions in the brain that have been damaged by stress, and access the regions in the brain that will allow us to create psychosomatic health. And remember that nature programmed us for reproduction, not for longevity. And this is why we're so obsessed with sex. Nature wanted to ensure the longevity of the species by programming the individual for reproduction, and this is what happens. So that after the age of 40, nature begins to shut down the detoxification systems in the body because we're no longer useful for reproduction. But we're all interested in having our health span equal our lifespan. Now, curiously, nature also selects for intelligence. Nature prefers brains over brawn, over teeth and muscle. So if we're able to upgrade the quality of our brain, if we're able to upgrade the quality of the luminous energy field that surrounds the physical body, we can actually prevent these devastating illnesses. Because our luminous energy field is a matrix, it's the software that informs the body. Our DNA is the hardware. The software is the luminous energy field. If we can clear the imprints of disease from the software, and we can download the latest version, 7.1, we can actually grow new bodies that age differently, that heal differently, and that die differently. We can switch on again the repair mechanisms that are inherent in every cell in our bodies, the detoxification mechanisms, and switch on the production of stem cells in every organ in our body. But to do this, we have to prime our brain for enlightenment. We have to awaken the higher order circuits in our brain that will allow us to create psychosomatic health. The formula is simple. We upgrade the quality of the information in our luminous energy field, we upgrade the brain, and then we take the supplements that will help us prevent these devastating conditions. One of them is vitamin D. Most of us live our lives indoors, seldom getting enough sun. And vitamin D is absolutely essential. I take it every day. And look at what happens with your high levels of vitamin D3. You reduce your risk for Parkinson's by 75% by simply taking a 20-cent vitamin every day, reducing your risk for Parkinson's disease. Now in the West, we think one ailment, one cure, but this will actually reduce your risk for all of the dementias. The next one is DHA, the omega-3 fatty acids that are essential for our diet and that we used to get from fish. But today, all of our fish is farm-raised and lacking in DHA. DHA is one of the omega-3s. 40% of breast milk is DHA. And look at what happens when you increase your levels of DHA. You reduce your risk for Alzheimer's by 85%. Look at number 4, 85% reduction in your risk for Alzheimer's by simply taking your DHA. I prefer to take the algae-based, which is cleaner and more effective. So if you don't have a friend who is lactating, you need to supplement. And today, most of the fish that we eat is raised in farms and fed corn and lacking in DHA. The other benefit of DHA is that it will switch on the production of BDNF, which is brain-derived neurotropic factors. This is what switches on the production of stem cells in the brain and will allow you to repair the regions in the brain damaged by the stress hormones, by cortisol and adrenaline. It will reset your fight or flight and bring you out of a world of scarcity. Now, the other epidemic that we're facing in the United States is an epidemic of obesity caused by a diet that is rich in sugars. Look at the rates of obesity in 1985, and I'll take you through a passage of decades. We'll jump a decade to 1995 and look how the percentage of obesity rises to nearly 20% of the population. And the story gets worse. And much of this obesity, of course, is due to our gut flora being out of balance and to the sugars that we get in our soft drinks and in anything that comes in a can. Look at the year 2005. The percentages now are almost 30 to 35% of all Americans being obese. This is a devastating situation. Young children today are being diagnosed with what used to be known as adult onset diabetes. And look what happens in 2010. We have more than 35% of the population in many states in the United States obese. This is an epidemic that we can change and we can do something about. Now today we're learning that it's not fats that make you fat, but carbs that make you fat. And of course, all of us are really interested in getting our health span to equal our lifespan. We don't want to live to be 120 years old, bedridden. We want to be vital, sexy, full of humor and life. And to do this, we have to switch off of the sugars that are feeding our more primitive brain, the brain that lives in scarcity, in anger, in violence, in frustration, and low self-esteem, and switch on the production of ketones, which are the fats in our body, the healthy fats that will allow us to access the higher brain where we can create psychosomatic health. This is our neocortex, the brain of creativity, of discovery, of Einstein, of Bach, of music, of science. And we switch on the ketones through caloric restriction by reducing the intake of our calories, by having a primarily plant-based diet that is rich in nutrients but poor in calories. And look at what happens here. The SIRT1 genes, which are the longevity genes, get switched on. We begin to produce new mitochondria. We begin to produce stem cells in our brain. And we used to be hunter-gatherers. And hunter-gatherers would feast when they caught something, and then they would fast. And when they fasted, they would burn up their sugar reserves and switch naturally into the production of ketones, of these fats that are jet fuel for the brain. Now, we have other ways of turning on the production of what is known as the NRF2 detox pathway. I like to call this the shamanic pathway, because this switches on the longevity genes, the sirtuins. It switches on the production of neural stem cells. And these are the products that do it. Curcumin, green tea, resveratrol, sulforaphane. They take the NRF2 protein and release it into the nucleus and switch on more than 500 genes that create health and switch off more than 500 genes that create disease. I like to call this the shamanic pathway. You'll notice that all of the NRF2 activators that are common are also spices, and first and foremost among them is coffee, good quality coffee, such as is produced by my friend Dave Asbury at Bulletproof Coffee. Switch on the detox pathways inside the cell, clear the brain fog, and in the process, when you do the detox diet, they reduce your tumor markers. They reduce pathology. The minute that you reduce your intake of sugars, they are able to detox inside the cell, you find that pathology grows away. We create the conditions for health, and disease simply goes away. And particularly at this time, when there's a new human appearing on the planet, at this time of tremendous crisis, when we're getting the codes of the new human transmitted to us by sun flares that are leaving the sun and striking the earth at a time when the electromagnetic shields of the earth are at the lowest that they have been in decades. So we're getting the codes for a new human, not just to be healthy, but to quantum leap into becoming a new species that I like to call Homo luminous. And the way that we do this is by creating psychosomatic health. When we're no longer being run by our fight-or-flight system, by our primitive predatory Neanderthal brain, the pineal gland can begin to do a process known as methylation. It will methylate serotonin, a common neurotransmitter, and turn it into psilocybin and DMT, or ayahuasca. So the brain loves to create these bliss molecules, but the pineal gland has to be activated in order for this to happen. And what destroys the pineal gland? Fluorides, stress. And when you're able to reset your fight or flight system, detox the body, switch on the pineal gland, we can become that human that we've been waiting for, Homo luminous, create psychosomatic health, have our health span equal our lifespan, and avoid the devastating illnesses of the West. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that this has been helpful. Come and visit our website, the4winds.com, which is full of practical information that you can use. And now take a look at what our shaman friends, the prophets and seers of the Andes, have to say about these extraordinary times that we're living in, the crises that we're facing, and the dangers and opportunities before us.
Apo Sangate, Apo Livan, Apo Machu Picchu, Apo Salcantay.
These are the wisdom keepers of the Andes, the medicine men and women that have been charged with the keeping and delivery of the prophecy.
Manaya sumak pichkans que mundo pli imaiman ikhminak au kanak sia sumak prepara kun pachamamamang conecta con anjispa. Ojo pachao, anak pachao che sumak kausun mana che conecta sia luya con cayo años capsuns fuego.
The coca is turned backwards. The coca says that we need to connect with the mother, connect with the earth. If we do not connect with our mother, that our mother will begin to lash out against us. There will be fires raging through the earth. There will be hurricanes, there will be storms, there will be terrible imbalance. They're showing us a grave, they're showing us death, they're showing us a difficult time for those who do not connect to the earth, who do not connect to the mother, who are not under the protection of our mother. For those that are in harmony, that are in peace with the earth, good things will come. Blessings and protections will come. But this requires that we accept the time that is and embrace the time to come graciously.
Maria Santsema mama pechtu mama. Ile iko sotenda. Anak pacha ki pacha okupacha paita nason imena picha kanga pon sempre. Liberation kanga pon mana. Chaita kanga mana wani peki.
The Father above, the Creator, is observing the creation and is not pleased. The changes in the earth will become more acute as the earth seeks to rebalance itself. The earth has been out of balance for a very long time, and even our prayers may not be able to bring it back into balance. But it is being witnessed by the Creator above in the heavens, whose intention for our planet is one of ultimate peace.
Señor te coylurite. Manachu con pips maps iskapakunka. Kurpunsimanta. Pachamamawanqa allillanmi purisunchis.
Yeah.
Ñuqanchis kurpu ashwantan sigisunchis.
The medicine people, the medicine men and women are now rising to a call to help the earth and to help each other. This is the time of the good medicine, of the strong medicine.